let's face it, he's never had the benefit of a good system. I mean, the Garrett thing is still, it continues to be just,
Parcells, he's an old school mind. He has some good years with him, things like that. But besides that, I'll say Parcells might be the best coach he's had. But I mean, it's older Parcells where, he was old school and things like that. And we all know nowadays, that type of disciplinarian, it only works in certain scenarios, like, Tom Coughlin and then Shiano, he's a tough-minded guy and things like that. And, they've won 3 in a row, but before that, they were 0-8, so.
Well, I mean, you look at Tony Romo and you look at just the way his team is constructed, and to me, it's never been a system where they could just plug in guys and the guy can be successful. We see that the guy,
I don't think they have anything they really do well. Like, one thing they do well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That, you know what, that hits the nail pretty much basically square on the head right there. We cannot point to that team and say that they do one thing particularly well. We know guys are dropping like flies. I mean, it's an injury bug really going through Dallas right now. No question about it. Guys are dropping. But they've got some really good players. And they cannot seem to put it together. And I think that, it starts with the coaching. Of course, Jerry, took a chance and put himself on the line for this coach. And the coach just flat out hasn't delivered. And you can see, I mean, what did you see, honestly, that you think, just in a sentence or in a nutshell, what do you think Romo did well Sunday?
Well, I thought he, kept his poise in the pocket as far as that last drive, no doubt about it. He made some throws. Des Bryant came up with some big catches, and, that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, you're a Pro Bowl receiver. They're supposed to make plays. It's like your Pro Bowl quarterback's supposed to make the reads and the throws when he needs to. And, I thought he stayed poised. They got off to a pretty fast start. 14, they were up 14-7, 14-3, right off the bat. So, that took the pressure off of him a little bit. Then it got a little bit stagnant towards the middle of the game, which you figured it would because, you start being a little bit more conservative with the lead, running the ball, things like that.
Well, and that the Giants would rally as well.
Right. Being at
they
home.
Still have some fight in them.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's still to me, like I said, not to cut your wisdom, not to cut your point, but I just wanted to add, still a huge win. Division win on the road.
Right.
I mean, those are the games that really separate boys from men, in my opinion. A division game.
The Giants are better than their 0-6 start. They have won 4 in a
Absolutely.
row. They have been playing better ball defensively, offensively. So
Absolutely. Huge win on the road, a division game. And you know why division? I mean, like I said, it's kind of like a duh kind of point. But honestly, division wins are so huge because if you get one on the road, I got to play you twice a year anyway. So if I can come and get one in your house, that's just big. Any way you slice that, that's huge.
Right.
So, then it's a short week for them. They got to play a sneaky Raiders team, on Thanksgiving. Like I said, I don't really doubt that the Cowboys can be a good team. I just think they really lack a good system. Sort of like, a la my Chargers. Huge win against the Kansas City Chiefs.
On the road in the division.
There you go. Same boat. Huge win on the road. We talked about it last week where we were saying, their confidence, I believe Kansas City's confidence was rattled. I believe that, it's kind of, in Rocky IV where he finally, got that one good shot in on the big Russian and he staggered him. Everybody was like, oh, he's cut. Clearly, Kansas City has been cut. Clearly they have been cut. Denver cut them. And, I mean, they weren't going to go undefeated in the season. And it wasn't a terrible loss to the Broncos. They just woke up too late. But to come back home and know you have a division opponent that's coming in that is playing for, almost nothing. I'm not counting on San Diego to make the playoffs this year. You're talking about a team that's...
But they're still mathematically in it, so, they have motivation to come in there and beat you. Well, even though, you have motivation because it's a division rival anyway, but if you're in the race, it makes it that more important, or you have that much more motivation.
Absolutely. It's no doubt that it was a huge game, but it was supposed to mean more to the Chiefs than it did to the Chargers, and they came in there and they got a huge win. And, this is, again, my knock has always been on Phillip Rivers. I don't think he's ready. This is his 10th year as a starter. He's got 3 playoff wins. I haven't seen it. But at times he has shown, I think, that if he had started his career with a coach that was really, a quarterback coach, not an offensive coordinator like Norv Turner. And let's face it, everybody knows they hung on to Norv Turner too long. We know that. Everybody knows that. They hung on to Norv Turner way too long. And
they just needed a 49er in there, a Long Beach State 49er in there, coaching them up,
There you go. There you go. But no doubt, huge game for your Cowboys. Like I said, I'm a little fuzzy on the schedule. I had it right in front of me. I can't recall who the San Diego Chargers play this week.
Bengals at home.
Bengals at home?
Yeah, Cincinnati at home.
Well, definitely a sneaky game because, like I said, that AFC is a tricky horse. You're talking about a Bengals team who, had a real shot at the beginning of the season to sneak their division. Ravens, Cleveland, obviously, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are, Pittsburgh is right in the mix of it. I don't know how you start off 0-4, and you're right there.
Right.
But, nevertheless, there they are. So the Bengals are going to come in with something to prove. San Diego, you got to prove that win against Kansas City was not a fluke. Biggest win of the year for you, no question about it. That was the biggest win of the year. You go in, a team that's 9-1, that's reeling from a bad loss against Denver, another division opponent, and you go in there and take that game from them. Hats, props to the San Diego Chargers. Huge win. But when you go back to the crib, you have to prove it wasn't a fluke because the Bengals are going to come to play, no doubt. And as far as the Cowboys, the Raiders are like cat burglar sneaky to me. I don't. They could come in and play great defense, special teams. Say again.
Well, the way I figure it is, man, we can't let them come in there and raid our refrigerator, slap our wives around, and eat our turkey. We can't let them do that.
Get your hands off my turkey. No, they can't do it. And that's what the Raiders are going to be looking to do. You're talking about a team that is playing for absolutely nothing but pride, and the fact that listen, the Raiders are starting to try. If I'm Raider fan, I'm looking at them like this. They took the huge chance on Pryor. It somewhat paid off. They're on their way. 8-8 is a victory for them. Is a victory season for them. And, they're right there. So they're eager. So, they'd love nothing more to embarrass Tony Romo. Biggest stage,
Yeah, we'll see who starts for quarterback at them because they've been starting the rookie McGloin the last 2 weeks. And, he's looked all right. So we'll see if they throw Pryor in there or a mix of both of them.
Right. Absolutely. Well, it's hard to say, but they're both going to be interesting games, no doubt. I as a Charger fan, am going to be glued to the set. I'm sure as a Cowboy fan, you're going to be, looking up from your turkey leg every now and again and seeing what's going on. But we move on to the NBA.
Yep.
And the big news out of the NBA, man, is the fact that Kobe Bean Bryant signs a 2-year extension. 2 years, $48 million. Now, what's impressing to me, I don't even want to say impressing. It's more like, forget about the money. And I know people will say $50 million is a lot of money. But for a guy that's giving you 5 championships, it's a drop in the bucket. You're going to make that in selling Kobe Bryant socks. You'll make that back. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
props to the guy.
With the Yankees.
Yeah, props to the guy for playing. He's going to finish out the 20 years. I can remember the guy with the fro, 18 years old, lots of swag, and, like, I'm saying to myself, like, man, this dude could play 20 years. You know, I said that a long time ago just because of his hunger for the game, his passion for the game, his work ethic. I mean, you're talking about a guy that gets to the court 2 hours early to shoot around. You know, a guy who's been in the league 17, 18 years. He has a work ethic that is unmatched. And the guy is a winner. He's a champion. And, you know, Laker fan, you should be proud of this guy. You should be proud to have this guy that, you know, his hunger is still there. His passion is there. You know, he talked about 2 more opportunities to win a championship. Are the Lakers going to win another championship? I don't know. Does it look like it on paper now? Of course not. But this guy's mentality has always been to put this franchise on his back. I firmly believe he's going to have a statue out front, no question about it. In my opinion, greatest Laker of all time. I know people will say Magic Johnson. You know, a lot of people will disagree with me. But, you know, to me, you're talking about different time, different circumstances. You're talking about a Magic Johnson that played with an absolute loaded team. I'm talking about, look, the guy played with quite possibly the greatest starting 5 in the history of the NBA, period. I'm talking about like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and James Worthy are on your team. You could march a circus clown out there, and you're going to win a championship. Magic was a winner coming out of college, no doubt, but that guy, you talking about landed on your feet. That guy landed in the driver's seat with cushions and the cruise control and the whole bit, going downhill, you know, with power steering. I mean, the guy never, you know, Magic didn't walk into a situation where he had to struggle and he had to fight. And I'm not comparing, you know, what they had to go through. I'm just saying, in my personal opinion, Kobe Bryant's situation and circumstance was totally different coming up through the ranks of Lakerland. He had to disprove myths. He had to disprove haters. He had to disprove Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, the biggest, you don't get a bigger shadow than that. I mean, you know, to this day, his greatest quote to me ever was when he said, the guy said, what does it mean to you, this championship? He said flat out his first, he didn't even say this is a great, you know, it means a lot for this guy said, it means I got one more than Shaq.
Right.
And you can take that to the bank. And you know, that was so telling to me of what this guy has had to go through his career. Vilified. I mean, just absolutely vilified. The guy was just raked over the coals. The guy came back, went to 3 championships in a row, won 2 of them, couple of finals MVPs. He won an MVP. You know, the guy's done everything that you have wanted a player to do. Laker, you know, records for franchise, you know, most minutes, most steals, most points, most, you know, there's no question. You know, like I said, in my opinion, there's no question the guy is the greatest Laker of all time. Absolutely. The guy never, when you talk about looking at Magic Johnson and you looking at Magic Johnson's team, and you had bench players, you know, Jamal Wilkes and, you know, players like that, Kurt Rambis, you know, he did it basically with Shaq. And then he came in and did it with Pau Gasol. So, you know, the guy, to me, even beat the Celtics for a championship. So you Kobe haters out there, you can't even go there. You can't even, well, he never beat the Celtics and he never beat no, he beat the Celtics. So the guy's career is cemented. You know, I don't want to hear about Jordan this, and I don't want to hear about none of that. That guy's career is solid. He's the best player we've seen in the NBA the last 15 years. I think his legacy is cemented.